Welcome to the Concepts of Cooking. My name is Joseph Passy, and today we are going to make clarified butter. But like anything in the kitchen, before we get started, let's wash our hands. Wash your hands really well. Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. So what is clarified butter? It is the separation of the butter fat from the water/whey and the milk solids that make up whole butter. There's many different uses for it. One of them is for sauteing. You can get your pan much hotter before the oil starts to smoke. It also adds a very nice flavor as opposed to just using a canola oil. It's also quite integral in making hollandaise sauce, which is what I use probably most of it for. At the bottom there, that's the whey. At the top is the milk solids. And right there is the butter fat that we're trying to capture. I use a very heavy, solid bottom pot. That's essential in ensuring that you don't burn it. Without that, you end up with hot spots and you'll end up with burnt butter. I put all the butter in there, crank it on high. And this takes about 15 minutes before it all melted and comes to a boil. Be very, very careful. If that boils over, you can burn the whole ship down. Fat is flammable. I turn the heat down, probably a little too much here. That's why it goes from a boil to a simmer to barely even simmering. So then I turn the heat back up. Throughout the process, I check it every single 5 minutes. I set a timer, not just for this video, even when I'm making it any other day. I just want to take a look at it. I adjust the flame throughout to keep a nice rolling boil. It's important to keep all the particulate within the butter in motion to ensure that it doesn't stick to the bottom and then burn. Anything sticking to the bottom at this point is your enemy. About every 25 minutes I get a whisk in there and move it around just to ensure nothing's stuck to the bottom. If there is something stuck to the bottom, I would actually scrape it off the bottom with that whisk to reincorporate it into the butter so that it won't continue to toast and result in burning it. As you can see, that milky color, that is the whey incorporated within the butter fat. As the process goes on, you'll begin to see that milky color dissipate and it'll become brighter yellow. It first becomes apparent at the edges of the pan, and then the milk solids will turn from fluffy white to more of like a toasty little bits type texture. You can start seeing it happen there. In the next couple frames, you'll really see it start to clump together as opposed to a nice fluffy froth on the top of it. I tend to turn the heat a little higher towards the end, and that's because without so much water in it, it's less likely to boil up and boil over. You'll still end up getting a foam, but that is much different than the whole mixture boiling over. As you can see here, it's really starting to clarify. Here it is completed. I shut off the heat at this point. I get a whisk in there just to pop those bubbles so it doesn't go over the edge, make a little bit of a mess. But that's why I set a 5-minute timer. That ensures that I'm always watching it. The next step of the process is to dump it through a cone shortening filter. You could also dump it through a nice clean dish rag or maybe a coffee filter. Just make sure you get all of that liquid out. That is the butter fat that we're trying to capture. That's a lot of money and a lot of work. That's liquid gold. Get all of it. As you can see, I'm straining it into a metal pot. That's so that I don't melt one of my good Cambro plastics. Even though those are very sturdy plastics, hot oil will ruin it. So I cool it off in a clean metal pot first. Then I move it over to my Cambro. And there it is, the finished product, clarified butter. That is 6 quarts from 9 pounds. I hope this was useful. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you next time. There's a couple buttons down below. You know what to do. If you want to, do. If you don't, don't. Either way, have it.